Before I moved to Spain, I did a lot of research, tried to find out how the country works. Over the past year and a half, I've learned a lot of things about how to live in Spain. Some of these things I couldn't find online before I moved down here. So I thought that I was gonna take today's vlog and go through some of all of these things. So the first thing I wish I'd done before I moved to Spain was learn a bit of Spanish. Just a few basic words. When I moved down here, I knew nothing. Just being able to say stuff like sí, no, gracias, vale, disculpa, that would have helped me immensely. Knowing words like leche, mantequilla, carne, pollo, pan. Just knowing some basic words like that will really help. Of course, you'll learn some of the language when you live down here, but it's especially in the beginning that you really need it. If you can learn some of the language before you move to Spain, that's definitely an advantage. I found this app that will help you learn some of the basic words. The app is called Duolingo. I'll leave a link for that app in the description box below. Is stuff cheaper in Spain? Obviously, that's gonna depend on where you're from. When I look at where I'm from, a lot of stuff is cheaper in Spain. The prices on food is about half in Spain what they are compared to Denmark. You're gonna need a place to live. If you rent an apartment, they are generally a lot cheaper as well. You can get anything from a small one-bedroom studio for about 300 euros. You can get a nice two-bedroom for about 500, and you'll be able to rent a small house from 800 to about 1,000 euros. So let's talk about one of the first things you'll have to do once you arrive in Spain. That is getting an NIE number. NIE stands for Número de Identificación de Extranjero. An NIE number is a personal identification number for foreigners. You're gonna need an NIE number to do a lot of different things in Spain. You'll need an NIE number to rent an apartment, to sign an insurance, buy a mobile subscription, or anything like that. An NIE number is obtained at the local police station. Another useful Spanish word would be policía, which means police. The process of getting an NIE number can be a little bit daunting. You'll need to go to the police station, typically wait in lines for a long time. You'll need to fill out a lot of paperwork, all of which is in Spanish. I would recommend that you seek the help of somebody who knows the system and speaks the language. You can often hire people who knows this whole process and speaks the language relatively cheap. So if you plan on staying in Spain for more than 6 months, or if you are already in Spain and the 6-month mark is coming up, you're gonna have to register as a resident. Being a resident in Spain does give you some options you wouldn't otherwise have. You will also need to be a resident in order to pay tax. The process of getting registered as a resident is much the same as getting an NIE number. The process is just as long and just as tedious as the NIE is. Again, I would recommend that you get somebody who knows the system and speaks the language to help you out. One of the things that you're gonna need is a bank account. You can actually open a bank account on just your passport number, but that won't be a fully featured bank account. I would definitely recommend that you open a bank account as soon as you can. Without a bank account, you won't be able to pay bills like electricity and water. If you stay here for half a year more and you register as a resident, you'll be able to upgrade or open a fully featured bank account. But do reach out to a Spanish bank. They'll be able to tell you a lot more about this. I will leave a couple of links in the description box below for both a bank that I can recommend and one that I definitely cannot recommend. You will also need to find a place to live. It can be difficult to hunt for an apartment or house if you're not in Spain. It's definitely gonna make it a lot easier if you can fly out, maybe spend a couple of days, maybe a week. One place that you're gonna be able to find a lot of houses and apartments up for both rent and purchase is on Idealista. They both have a website and they have an app. I'm gonna link both in the description below. Another really effective way of finding a place to live is by Facebook groups. You'll often find a lot of houses and apartments on Facebook groups. I'm gonna link a bunch of them down below. You can also contact some local real estate agencies, but what you'll often find that the properties they have is already listed on either Idealista or these Facebook groups. One thing to keep in mind when shopping for a vehicle in Spain is that the Spanish don't treat their vehicles the same way as most Northern Europeans do. That's why if you come to Spain, you'll see that most cars have scratches, dents, or worse. Taking that into consideration, you might think of buying secondhand. Just to give you an idea of car prices in Spain, a typical mid-ranged, mid-spec level Audi A3 is about 30,000 euros. If you do end up buying secondhand, there's a couple of things that you have to be careful of. It's actually so complex that I won't even go into details here. Instead, I'm gonna link a couple of guides down in the description that you should be checking out. A good place to look for both new and second-hand cars is a website called coches.net. I'll link that down below. If you buy a second-hand car, be careful about the paperwork. You could be caught up in paperwork for months. Funny story, I have a bike that I bought half a year ago and that's still caught up in paperwork to this day. You're gonna need a job. If you understand what I'm saying, you have a good chance of finding a job here. This is a touristy place. There is high demand for people who speak English. And even better, if you also speak Spanish, I can guarantee you get a job. There are tons of foreign companies down here looking for people who speak the language you do. Whether you speak English, speak Danish like me, German, French, Italian, Swedish, Norwegian, you can find a job. Facebook groups is the place to look. I'm gonna link some of these groups down below. If you end up living in a place like this, a touristy place, do remember that the summer season is a lot more busy than the winter season. Often you'll see people working 60, 70 hours during the summer, only 10 to 20 during winter. One of the main reasons for moving to Spain is the weather. Up towards 300 days of sunshine a year. While the weather is something that draws a lot of people, it can also be a challenge. Down here it can get so hot that it's almost unbearable being outside. When we hit 40s, I almost wish I was back home in Denmark. When all that is said, the climate down here is not too bad. It's not a holiday. A lot of people look at me and think, oh, it's like being on a holiday all year long. There's a huge difference between being on holiday someplace and living there. While you on a holiday in Spain might go out, enjoy the beach, lay by the pool, I'm gonna be sitting inside in my office in front of my computer writing emails. And sitting inside in front of a computer when it's 40 degrees outside, not so fun. Please do remember, it's not a holiday. So you're probably gonna work more hours down here than you did where you come from. The mentality of people down here is very different from what I'm used to. And it's probably gonna be different to what you're used to as well. People are very relaxed. They're very laid back. They're very easygoing. And I guess a part of that mentality also means that you're gonna have to wait a lot. When you go to the bank, there's probably gonna be a long queue. If you wanna ship something, it's gonna take a lot longer than you used to. I hope you learned something from this. I hope this answered some of your questions. If you found this video useful and you know somebody who's thinking about moving down here, please link them this video. If you have any other questions, anything that I didn't answer in this video, first of all, I'm gonna link a couple of guides down in the description. This was more of a things that I wish I knew when I came down here. You're also more than welcome to comment on this video with any question you might have. I'll do my very best to answer it, and if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna try and find it. You already live in Spain? What would you add to this list? Adios.